Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Comedy Sports! Have we got an exciting matchup for you tonight? Your Milwaukee Sparklers versus your Milwaukee Dendrites. First up for the Dendrites at offensive halfwit, Mike D-Day Durenberg. Over at wide punster, Deborah, the evidence is circumstantial. And at dry humor position and captain of the Dendrites, Amy, Wicked Witch of the Westra. Now I'd like to introduce your Sparklers. Over at right corner smirk, Sarah Radek Calvert. At defensive lip-off, Julie Ferris of them all, Tillman. And at quarter brain and captain of the Sparklers, Alicia All Better Altstetter. And finally, your referee for tonight's matchup, Mark the Biscuit Redlick.
Please enjoy the show.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Comedy Sports, another virtual extravaganza for you this beautiful Friday evening. Thanks for joining us. And before we get started with the first round, briefly, let's explain quickly what Comedy Sports is about. What you're about to see tonight is competitive team comprovisation, and what that means in English is that there will be two teams of athletes competing on your screen in scenes and games based on suggestions by you, our loyal fans in the audience. So we need to get your suggestions going. We're going to be using a lot of suggestions this evening, so get the chat ready, get your fingers on those keyboards, and start typing in your favorite season of the year. I would like to know your favorite season of the year. We will filter those suggestions through our field manager, FM, who will relay them to us. The first thing that grabs his attention, or maybe the first thing that gets written in there, is what he will use, and he will feed them to us, and we will base our scene or game around that suggestion. Let's see what that first suggestion is. What is everybody's favorite season of the year, FM?
Oh, well, we've got a lot of different ideas on what is the best season, but ski season is the first thing from Carlson.
That's better than the last match where it was Wabbit season. All right, so excellent. Keep those suggestions coming throughout the show. We're going to be asking for them throughout. FM is going to be prompting you for different suggestions throughout the evening, so just keep them coming throughout the match. Now, since this is a competition, there are some fouls that may happen tonight. It is my job to acquaint you with those fouls before we proceed. First foul that can be called at Comedy Sports is the infamous brown bag foul. Everybody put your hands up over your head and do it with me. Here we go. The brown bag foul. Very good. I felt that energy from you. So nice job out there. The brown bag foul occurs when one of the players who's on the screen says something that is lewd, crude, lascivious, downright dirty, but most importantly, it is out of context with the rest of the scene. Now, the key phrase is out of context. Comedy Sports is a family show. We want to try and challenge ourselves and keep the jokes from the waist up. So if I see or hear anything that I deem to be overtly poopy, the offending player will have to wear a brown paper bag over his or her head for the remainder of the scene, and that player's team loses 1 point. That's the brown bag foul. The second foul that can be called at Comedy Sports is the groaner foul. Everybody choke yourself for the ones you love. Here we go. The groaner foul. Very good. The groaner foul occurs, you gotta let go now. The groaner foul occurs when one of the players who's on the playing field or on your screen says something that basically amounts to a bad pun. It's like a bad dad joke. It makes you guys audibly groan at home, and you've got to let us know that by typing in the chat with a big groan. Now, FM will be keeping his eye on the chat, and if he sees a lot of groaning coming from you guys in the audience, he will notify me that there is a groaner foul, at which point I will blow the whistle, and we will stop the scene to acknowledge that groaner foul, and then At the end of that scene or game, the offending player will have to apologize to you, the audience, for making you groan. I'll then ask you if you accept or decline the apology. If you guys decline the apology, then that player's team loses 1 point. Just so you guys get a good example of what a groaner foul is, let's go to Dr. Voice. Dr. Voice, do you have an example of the groaner foul for us?
Why, of course I do, Mark. You know, the other day this guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey, is that a cookie up your nose?" Well, I tell him, no, it's not.
Okay, that is a more than adequate representation of a groaner foul. So if you hear something like that, don't forget to type groan into the chat so we know a groaner foul has been committed. And like I said, we will force that offending player to apologize. So those are all the announcements. Any other fouls I will make up as I go along since I'm drunk with power and Jim Beam. We need to start this evening's match by getting the captains on the screen at center field. So everybody give a round of applause, wave the fingers in the air, show your appreciation for our two captains, Captain Alicia, Captain Amy, Captain Alicia. Please join me on screen here. Now, I do not have a coin for the coin toss this evening because I am broke. So in lieu of a coin toss, we are going to do a brief round of rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to choose what they'd like to open this evening's match with. Captains at the ready, and Captain Alicia, you will go first on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have a rock. Captain Amy, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got paper. Paper covers rock. It's like a karate chop paper out there. So Amy, you have won the face-off challenge.
Wow.
And you can challenge the Sparkler team to any game of your devising.
Oh, you know what? I think I would like to challenge Alicia and her sparklers to the game of Endowment Fairy Tale.
Okay, you've been challenged to an Endowment Fairy Tale. Do you accept?
I sure do.
All right, very good. For the game of Endowment Fairy Tale, what's going to happen is both teams will be telling you a fairy tale. Let's get a very popular fairy tale, a very common one written in the chat there. Just start putting those in there. And each player is going to tell their fairy tale through a certain endowment. That endowment is going to be that filter through which we're going to receive that very familiar fairy tale. So also, once you've gotten those fairy tales written in there, I need you to start writing in some different endowments for our players. We're going to need some film styles. We're going to need some accents, so some European accents and maybe some domestic accents that you would find in America as well. We're going to need some emotions. We'll take some high school cliques. And then if you want to also put in some people with recognizable voices, like voice impression type voices. So somebody that if you heard an impression of them, you go, I know what that person is. So don't give us like just famous people. Give us ones with recognizable voices. So once again, film styles, accents, emotions, high school cliques, and vocal impressions or people with recognizable voices. So start typing those in the chat. Like I said, each player is going to take one of those different endowment categories, and they will tell you this fairy tale through that endowment. Now, Dr. Voice, I believe, is going to be in charge of who's on the screen. We're going to let this fairy tale go for about 6 minutes, or until I feel it's exhausted its comic potential, at which point we will come to you guys, and your applause, or your votes actually today, will determine which team receives 5 points. So at the end of the match, we need you to type into the chat right away, red or blue, showing which team you preferred. And we're going to tally the votes as quickly as we can. And then Dr. Voice will relay the winner to us. So that's how this round will be scored. Let's check in with FM. First of all, what fairy tale are we going to be telling this evening?
Oh, we are going to be telling the fairy tale of Snow White.
All right, Snow White is going to be our fairy tale. And I believe we have categories for everybody. Does everybody have their endowment?
Oh, I can tell you what everyone's endowment is going to be, yes.
All right, so let's start with Julie here.
Julie is going to be film noir.
All right, film noir for Julie. Sarah?
Sarah is going to be a hillbilly.
Billy. All right. Amy.
Amy has a Maine accent.
A Maine accent. Fantastic. Let's go with Deborah.
Deborah is ecstatic.
All right. Alicia.
Alicia is a jock.
Jock. And finally, we have Mike.
Mike is going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fantastic. So now everybody does have an endowment for which they are going to be telling the story. I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Boyce. Players, you have about 6 minutes for the game of Endowment Fairy Tale. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then begin.
Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a little tiny baby, and that little tiny baby needed a present, and the parents threw a party. And oh my goodness, 3 little fairies came, and one of them gave her beauty, and one of them
gave her like a very low carb diet. Because that fairy was interested in getting swole and repeating reps. So she was like on top of her game. So she looked over at the baby and said, "Baby."
Oh, aren't you a fine looking there, baby? Hey, we were going to go out hunting for some bear, but my traps are all empty, don't you know? So, we're just going to hop around and maybe we could find the little guys that live in the woods up there by outside of China, Maine there. But, you can...
She decided she'd go along with this ruse because at least he was handsome. But whether she needed 7 little guys or a hunting trip remained to be seen. When they got to the woods,
yeah, they saw that there was some funny business going on out there, and turns out that the girl's mom was, a little jealous of her good looks and whatnot. So they chugged a bunch of moonshine, and then they stumbled out in the woods, and the guy pulls out his skinning knife, and he was going
to kill her. So she said, "Oh no, this is not good." But then the little ones came, say, "No, do not do that. Get in the chopper, Snow White. Come on, you must come."
well, an offer like this, she couldn't refuse. She got into the chopper, kicked up her heels, and tried to run from the calamity behind her, but always wondered what she might be leaving behind.
And she saw 7 dudes, and it was like first base, left field, center, short, right, catcher, pitcher. The rest had to double up, and they were serious about their jobs. And she came down and said, "I can coach you guys. We could make a team and go all the way." And they were like, "Hi-ho, it's up."
"Do you what you want to do? We could go all the way." And they did. They went all the way to the top of the mountain, and they played ball against people there.
Well, she wasn't really one for playing ball, but she stretched her long gams out against the wilderness behind her and watched as these 7 gentlemen combated for her love and affection. She stroked her coiffed hair and decided life is good.
I could really go for some lobsters or something like that. It's a little breezy and these black flies are all over me. If anyone could have some netting or something, it's really messing up my complexion, said Snow White. "Oh, sure. We had some down in the pit, because on account of we're miners. And we were near Portland, so we could bring up some nets and some jewels." Just then, an evil witch swooped down and said, "What
Are you doing? I need the Snow White now. I have to give her something." So she took out a big juicy apple, very high in good things for your nutrition. Here.
That's a Macintosh. Oh, gosh. I love Macintoshes on account I'm from Maine. So, I was just going to take a little bite here.
And a bite she did. That was her last fleeting thought as she drifted, her eyelids closed, suddenly heavy, She knew this was the wrong night to have given up the drink, and fruit wasn't the answer. And as she
Fell asleep, she thought to herself, I sure hope my back doesn't hurt in the morning. And then, when she woke up, there was some guy standing
over her, and he was like, "What's with this sleeping lady? It's time to play. We got all this working out to do." So he went over and gave her a big sloppy kiss, and she
woke up, and she's like, hey, I got an apple. Anyone want to make some mash and like have a good time out behind the shed with me? And so she grabbed the guy by the suspenders and hauled him back there. He was only her first cousin, so it was cool, And
And she took the apple, but he said, no, put the apple down. He's dangerous. We must go get the queen. So he grabbed her. He said, come with me if you want to leave.
I don't run anywhere, fool, but I will follow you. She knew he was on to something. A queen sounded...
I can't go on account and I'm wearing my duck boots and it's so messy. I just got the new LL Bean catalog, for lobstering and stuff. So I'm just going to grab my toque. I'm going to put it on and put on my galoshes and I'll be right back.
and my fluffy coat. Yay, it's over.
All right, that's time for the game of Endowment Fairy Tale. Give both teams a wave of the fingers or a round of applause. They did an excellent job, and start typing in right away which team you thought did a better job, either the red team or the blue team. We're going to tally up those votes over the next few seconds here, so get those in right away. And let's check in with Dr. Voice at this point. Dr. Voice, do we have any announcements while we are tallying up those votes?
Why, of course we do, Mark. Here at ComedySportz, we've been doing these virtual shows via YouTube. Now would be a great time to click that subscribe button so you can see all of our live shows. Why, you could even follow us on Facebook if you wanted to. We'll let you know about all of our live shows, our workshops, our applied improv workshops, and even our virtual road shows that you can have us come out for your business. We'll put on a show just for you. All sorts of fun things, Mark.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. Voice. All right, hopefully that is enough time for you guys all to have cast your vote for one of the teams. Let's check back in. Dr. Voice, we're not done with you. Which team got more votes for this evening's opening round?
Oh, that's right, Mark. We've been tallying all of these votes here, and it looks like the winner of that last round was the Sparklers!
Sparklers in red won that last round, so fantastic. What is the score now, Dr. Voice?
Now the score is 5 for the Sparklers to 0 to the Dendrites.
All right. So the score is 5-0 in favor of the Sparklers. Let's get Captain Alicia up here on the playing field. Captain Alicia, your team is currently ahead, so you now get to choose how you'd like your game chosen in the round of choose how you'd like your game chosen.
we would like to choose a game.
Good. What game?
3 rooms, please.
3 rooms. Very good. So for the game of 3 rooms, what I'm going to need from you guys, first of all, let's get in the chat a location, a non-geographical location. So a place you would not find on a map. Put that one in the chat there. And then after that, if you could also put in there maybe a type of environment, like a jungle or something like that. Give me like an environment, a type of place, not the name of a specific place, but just an environment for them to be in. And the last thing I would like is maybe a historical event of some sort. Give us those 3 things. So a non-geographical location, a type of environment, and an historical event. Put those in the chat. We are going to have 3 rooms set up. So each room is going to consist of 2 of the Sparkler players. We will begin in one of those 3 suggested locations or environments. At any point during that scene, I can blow the whistle and repeat the last line that was said. We will switch to a different room, and that will be the first line of the ensuing scene in that new environment. That's how the game is played. We will switch through all 3 rooms in order, and we will keep going through the same order throughout the course of the game. The game lasts for about 4 minutes. At the end of this game, we will see a different game done by the Dendrite team, and then once again, you guys will vote, and we'll tally up your votes. The team with the greatest number of votes will receive 5 points at the end of the round. So let's check in with FM now. FM, do we have a location, first of all?
Oh, we sure do. We have North Pole.
All right, so we have the North Pole. That will be our first location. For our second location, that type of environment.
Well, we have Escape Room.
An escape room. That's excellent. I love that. So we have the North Pole for our first room, an escape room for our second room, and then our third room will have an historical event.
Yes, we've got Gold Rush.
Gold Rush. All right, so our third environment is a Gold Rush environment. Now, as I said before, I will stop and repeat the last line. That will be the first line in the next location. We will be starting in that location of the North Pole. With which 2 players are going to begin?
Me and Sarah.
All right, so Alicia and Sarah will start at the North Pole of this first location. We have about 4 minutes for the game of 3 rooms. Sparklers, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then begin.
Done. I'm so glad we're out here really testing our masculinity that's just innate in our family out on this tundra of the North Pole.
Yeah, Dad. I am so looking forward to spending quality time with you and learning.
Learning to be a real, true, manly man. Step 1, find an adorable seal pup.
Find an adorable seal pup.
Okay, Sally, I'm a real pro. Finding an adorable sea pup is the hardest part of this escape room. I've done it 20 times. I still haven't found it.
Seal pup. Yeah, I think I saw one like hanging on the wall when we first came in. Should I go get it? I'll go get it. Yeah,
Yes,
it's right
that's
here.
the 20th piece of the puzzle. This seal pup is victory.
We've been in here 5 minutes. That's it.
That's the best part of the game.
That's the best part of the game.
That's the best part of this game. Gold. Finding it and having it.
Mr. Smithers, I guess I do have goals, but I'm only in 8th grade. This is just civics class. Like, it's just trivia for the test. I don't think I care that much.
Well, you'd care if all you had was a frying pan and a plain rock.
Is that a multiple choice question? I think that's the one that's about the guy with the knife, right? The Bowie knife guy.
That's right. It's a knife. You need it to camp and set up your whole location so that you can get out of this California alive.
I'm just going to use it as answer number 2.
I'm just going to use it as answer number 2.
I'm just gonna use it as answer number 2, Dad, because I don't really want to tell you what I'm gonna do behind that log. Is that okay?
Son, you don't have to be embarrassed in front of your dad. There's no rules up here. It's the North Pole. It's just a bathroom for us.
Yeah, I should get used to more of that, like manly stuff, like you said, Dad.
That's right. That's what we do. Go to the bathroom and guess what? I found this cute seal, so dinner is on.
Yeah, you're gonna do it really well too. I just know it.
You're going to do it really well, too. I just know it.
You're going to do it really well. I just know it. We will move to the next level room.
You know, I have an aversion to spiders, though, and you didn't tell me there were going to be spiders.
Sarah, the spiders are plastic.
The spiders are plastic.
The spiders are plastic. So when you get them in your sieve, you can just ping those out. That's right. Field trip day, class.
I'm not sure how I tell my mom that we're panning for gold and filtering spiders on a field trip. She was thinking more museum.
Well, we got a garden hose and a mud puddle and other things I bought from the teacher's lounge. So get at it.
I'm gonna need probably a mental health day because mud's triggering for me.
That's why we're looking for what's in it. I feel like you're not even with me on this. I can't.
I feel like you're not even with me on this.
I feel like you're not even with me on this. Dad, I mean, I told you last week that I don't want to go to college.
Son, out here freezing with you. I'm just bonding with you completely. I can't even hurt this cute seal. I love him too much. And I
love him too much.
As my best friend, I thought we could do all these escape rooms and you would want to do what I wanted to do to take my mind off my ex-boyfriend because I love him too much.
Okay, that's time for the game of 3 rooms by both teams. So give both teams a round of applause, little wave of the fingers, and we're going to check in now with the Dendrite captain, Captain Amy. Captain Amy, what game would you like to choose for the round of choose how you'd like a game chosen?
Well, sir, we would like to play the game of 8 lines.
8 lines. All right. So for the game of 8 lines, we need to make sure that somebody cannot hear the suggestions that we're going to get from the, or actually we got to make sure 2 people do not hear the suggestions that we get from the audience. So who is going to be turning around or leaving the room? How are we getting rid of them today?
We are kicking Deborah and Mike Durenberg out.
Okay. So Deborah and Mike are going to be leaving. Everybody say goodbye, Deborah and Mike. And we are going to send them out of earshot here, away from their screens, into another room, which we specially built and soundproofed just for the purposes of this virtual match this evening. Your tax dollars at work. What we need from you guys now are 8 different lines of dialogue. So start putting into the chat different lines of dialogue. Now, these can actually be lines that are famous from a movie or a TV show or a song that you love or hate or an advertising slogan, anything like that. But the game actually works a lot better if some of these lines of dialogue are dialogue lines that we're not familiar with. All right, something that's brand new, something that maybe is an inside joke between you and your friends or family, so that we do not recognize it as easily. That makes the game a lot more interesting for you to watch and a lot more challenging for us to play. So we're going to start working on getting those lines of dialogue. Let's check in with FM in a minute and keep them coming while we are fielding the suggestions here, because you never know which one FM's going to pick out here. So FM, what's our first line of dialogue?
Oh, our first line of dialogue is, she doesn't even go here.
She doesn't even go here. All right, very good. Do we have another one?
Yes. You should be called the dim one.
You should be called the dim one. I take that personally. All right.
Who brought the baby?
Who brought the baby? All right. That's an excellent one for our third line.
We have ain't no holler back girl.
Ain't no holler back girl. That's fantastic. Takes me back a ways. All right.
Everybody wants to be me.
Everybody wants to be me. All right. And that has never been said in my life.
All right, we've got, let's see. Let's go with, did you practice the piano yet?
Did you practice the piano yet? I believe this is 5, or was that 6?
Amy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so that was 6. Let's get 2 more.
We have slap on the bass.
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure, slap on the bass.
Slap on
Slap on the bass.
Slap on the bass.
Okay.
It's from I Love You Man, if that helps.
It does.
It's not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like. That's a line. That's not you explaining slap on the bass, right?
Correct.
All right. Okay. So that should be 8 lines now of dialogue that we've gotten from you guys. So give yourselves a little round of applause. These are excellent lines of dialogue. And Amy has taken those 8 lines and written them down. Now, when we bring Deborah and Mike back into the scene here, back into their respective rooms, Amy will be in a scene with them. However, Amy can only say those 8 lines of dialogue. Those are the only lines that she can say. Mike and Deborah will have to justify and help Amy put those lines in context with the rest of the scene. Now that's how the game is played. It's gonna last again for about 4 minutes. At the end of this game, once again, when I call time, I need you to start voting right away, red or blue, which team you thought did a better job in the round of choose how you'd like a game chosen. It's either gonna be red for their game of 3 rooms, or it's gonna be the blue team, the Dendrites, and the 8 lines. I know it's numbers in both, it's either 3 rooms or 8 lines. Which one do you prefer? It's a number and a word, but you gotta keep them straight, all right, and vote for the team that you thought did a better job. Now, the last thing I need, you know what? We need to call Deborah and Mike back into the room at this time. So on the count of 3, wherever you are, we'll feel your energy. Just say, hey, Deb and Mike, get in here. 1, 2, 3. Hey, Deb and Mike, get in here. And give them a round of applause, give them a little encouragement, wave your fingers, bring them back. And we got everybody back now. Now for the Dendrite scene, what I need last from you guys is, let's get one of those environments that we didn't get to use in the first scene game of 3 rooms. FM, do you have one of those environments handy?
Oh, I certainly do. Let's see. Let's look back here and go with hamburger joint.
Hamburger joint. All right, so you have about 4 minutes for the game of 8 lines. You are in a hamburger joint. Players, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
And begin.
Well, Kathy, I just wanted to say thank you for taking me out for burgers, to say you're sorry for marrying my dad and ruining my life.
Everybody wants to be me.
Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. That's how you were in high school.
She doesn't even go here.
Yeah. Not anymore, because we just graduated last year, and then you married my dad.
It's not what it looks like.
It's not? Oh, that makes me feel so much better, because I thought you were after his money.
I know, holla back, girl.
I'm glad to hear it, because I wouldn't want you to hurt my father. Listen, let's go, I'm gonna go, because I can't with you anymore. So you just go home and make my dad happy, and, I'll see you at Thanksgiving.
You should be called the dim one.
There you are, sweetie. I trust you had a wonderful day.
Slapping the bass.
Oh, you and your teenage lingo. I'll get it someday. No, I'm just thinking back to when I saw you in the school play with my daughter last year. Oh, it was wonderful.
Everybody wants to be me.
Mwah, yes, everybody does want to be you. Now,
Did you practice the piano yet?
I have. I was hoping that my sweet daughter Deborah would come over and we would have a little private concert together as a family.
Who brought the baby?
There's a baby? We're gonna have a baby? Oh my God, this is amazing.
It's not what it looks like.
Oh, it's not that kind of baby.
Who brought the baby?
Oh, that's that baby. Oh, yes. You know, you will remember the high school play. Yeah, there was some other people I saw there.
She doesn't even go here.
I know. She was a guest. She was not in the play, but you know what? We can work this out. It'll be fine.
You should be called the dim one.
You're right. I should. You know what? This is my house, but I'm gonna go. I think I deserve to leave.
It is I, the ghost of the first wife.
Slap in the face!
Ooh, no, I'm here to help you.
I ain't no hollaback girl.
I think you'll be fine. They just are going through growing pains.
Okay, that is time for the game of 8 lines by the Dendrite team. Once again, a round of applause or a wave of the fingers, and start putting your vote for which team you thought did a better job in the chat. All right, blue for the game of 8 lines, which you just saw. Red for the game of 3 rooms, which you saw just before that. You need to pick a winner, and that team will receive 5 points. Now let's give it a few more seconds. Let's check in with Dr. Voice. Dr. Voice, do we have any more announcements?
Why, Mark, I'm not sure if I was clear the first time, but you can head over to ComedySportz Milwaukee's Facebook page right now. And did you know that if you have a company, a large team, or just even a gathering of friends like a book club, you could hire us to do a virtual, remote, or applied improv workshop? Why, that's right. We'll come to you virtually. So much fun.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, Dr. Voice, for reminding our loyal fans about those wonderful things that we can do for them if they have friends, I guess, or coworkers. You don't even need to like each other. You just need to work together, right? Dr. Voice, which team got more votes in that last round?
Well, Mark, after doing some tabulation, some calculation, and some general wrist stretches, I've found out that your Dendrites have won!
Dendrites. So the Dendrites received 5 points for that round, bringing the score to what, Dr. Voice?
5 for the Dendrites and 5 for the Sparklers. They've tied it up! Ho-ho!
So it's 5 apiece. That means I need both captains at center field now for the next challenge, our head-to-head challenge. Captain Alicia, you've just been tied, so you can issue a challenge to Captain Amy and the Dendrite team.
All right. Well, we want something we can win. So how about, yeah, it could happen.
Ooh, you've been challenged to It Could Happen. Do you accept?
Gladly, yes.
All right. So the game is called It Could Happen. Now, you've been supplying a bunch of endowments and suggestions throughout the course of this evening, and I believe FM has been asking for some additional suggestions from you guys throughout different categories. Now, the players are being given all of these suggestions at this point, and they will start putting them together in these strange, unusual combinations. So it could be something like, what if Napoleon was a potato farmer? At which point, they will shout that out and challenge the other team to do a scene about that. So they'll say, what if Napoleon was a potato farmer? And then we'll all, in time with everybody at home, say, yeah. It could happen. So what you just saw on the screen, we need you to say that with us. And then at that point, the challenged team will perform a brief scene about Napoleon being a potato farmer or whatever the challenge was. After finishing that scene, the team that just performed the scene will challenge the other team to a new combination. If this sounds confusing, I get it. I'm confused. I'm explaining it, but you'll get it as it goes along. Now, since the Dendrite team was challenged, I will have the Dendrites throw out the very first challenge to the Sparklers to perform the first combination. We'll go through maybe 3, 4, 5 rounds, whenever I feel we've exhausted its comic potential or reached 6 minutes of time, at which point we will call the game and once again come to you guys and you will cast your vote for which team you thought did a better job in the round of It Could Happen. Team with the most votes will receive 5 points. I bet you didn't see that coming, unless you remembered from the first 2 rounds, because it's been 5 points every round. All right, so that's the end of my talking. Let's turn it over to the Dendrites. And Dendrites, what are you going to challenge the Sparkler team to?
Oh, yes, that's me. Okay. What if Rodney Dangerfield ran a daycare?
Everybody say it.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Oh, that's just my luck. Oh, this kid doesn't know what's in for him. Hey, kid, you want a cigar? Oh, yoink, so good.
Okay, that is time for that scene. We're going to keep the Sparklers up here. Sparklers, you will throw out the next challenge to the Dendrites.
I'll go ahead and go. What if Christopher Walken was in Frozen?
Yeah. It could happen.
Let it go! Let it go! I can't hold it anymore. There's a snowman here and he's got a carrot for his nose and we're dancing. Let it go.
Okay, that's time for the Dendrites scene. It's about spot on, really. All right, Dendrites, throw out the next challenge.
What if Dolly Parton and Elmo were crossing the Delaware?
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, it could happen.
Hey, Dolly, can you read me a story before we get over there?
Well, Elmo, I'm kind of busy telling them not to make a statue out of me because, there's more important things right now. But I can tell you that if you work 9 to 5, we're going to cross this river.
Is it a problem that I'm red?
No, Elmo. All of God's creatures are equally blessed. I'm just smart like that because I'm Dolly. Get it all.
All right, that is time for that scene. Sparklers, you throw out the next challenge.
What if Carol Channing were at the Salem witch trial?
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen.
Well, hello, witches. Well, hello, witches. I just like casting spells. It's just something I do. I thought magic was fun. Is it not fun? Oh,
We're gonna set you on fire now.
Oh, those flames are hot. Golly, they're so hot. Golly.
Okay, that's time for that scene. Let's throw out the next challenge, Dendrites.
What if Gomer Pyle and Forrest Gump were at the birth of Shakespeare?
Yeah, it could happen.
Oh, hey! I ain't never seen anyone look quite like that.
Oh, looks like it's a box of chocolates. You just don't know what we're gonna get.
Thou sayest this child doth comest, now.
My mama always says when people are having a fit, just to let them be.
Well, slap him upside the head. I think I'd like to hold him for a while.
All right. That's time for that. Sparklers, throw out the next challenge.
What if Judge Judy were actually a yoga instructor?
Yeah, it could happen.
What I'm going to need everyone to do is listen up. What you want to do, I said listen up. I want a good downward dog, okay? Engage your core. Bailiff, let them engage their core.
I don't know if this is working.
Yeah, I just want my $300 back.
Okay, you know what? We'll take this out in the hallway, but bailiff, remove this gentleman. I find him in contempt, and I find his chakras completely out of order.
Can you recommend a chiropractor?
Okay, that's time for that scene. Let's go to the next challenge, Dendrites.
All right. What if John Wayne played in the movie Elf?
Yeah, it could happen. Well, I'm gonna leave the North Pole and head down to Manhattan on this here ice floe. Pew, 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 pew. Hey there, kid. Can I stay in your apartment?
I don't take men in elf costumes and cowboy hats without knowing them.
All right, well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Elf Wayne, and I make a mean spaghetti and rabbit stew.
All right, that's time. Sparklers, issue the next challenge.
What if, Ronald Reagan was in Goonies?
Yeah,
it could happen.
Well, I've actually only been to one theater, as I used to be in the movies. Nancy and I used to go, and all I know is that the kids are always too loud, so I can't speak to the Goonies as much as I can speak to, theater in general.
Just say no.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, that's time for that one. Dendrites, issue the next challenge.
What if Bozo the Clown were a ghost?
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Cookie, it's time for the grand prize game. Here, take this bucket of golf or ping pong ball. Woo! My hand went right through it. Cookie, what's happening to me?
You are becoming a scary clown!
It was bound to happen. It was that bozo pewter. I blame
Okay,
it.
that's time. That's time for the game of It Could Happen. So give both teams a round of applause, a wave of the fingers, and now start putting in your votes into the chat. Which team did you think did a better job in the round of It Could Happen? Either the red team or the blue team. We will give them a little bit of time to tally up those votes before we head into our final round of competition for the evening. So once again, instead of deferring to Dr. Voice right now, I just want to thank you guys for joining us on a Friday night. We have our virtual matches every other week, so please check out our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page so you know when we're coming up. Be our friend on Facebook. We have no friends. All right, and follow us there. And now let's check in with Dr. Voice. Dr. Voice, which team received more votes for the round of It Could Happen?
Well, Mark, all the tabulation takes time. All the calculations take computer power. I'm thinking, I'm counting past 5, which is a big deal for me. In fact, I've counted. Here we are. Your winner for this last round is your Sparklers!
Sparklers receive 5 points for the round. So what does that bring the score to, Dr. Boyce?
Oh, the Sparklers pulled ahead with 10 points, while the Dendrites only have 5.
So the score is 10-5 in favor. The Sparklers were right. They actually won that round. There's a good challenge. So let's come to Captain Amy for the last chance challenge. Captain Amy, you can challenge the Sparklers team to any freeze game of your devising.
Thanks, Mark. That's awesome. I would like to, I want to see if they have any pun skills, and I would like to play the game of 185.
All right, we need more numbers in this match. You've been challenged to 185. Do you accept?
More numbers, yay.
All right. For the game, yeah, it could happen. For the game of 185, what's going to happen is all the players will be up here on your screen, and they will be telling you jokes that follow a standard format. The format is 185 blanks walk into a bar. Bartender says, I'm sorry, we don't serve blanks here, we're closed. And 185 blanks reply with a punchline. You guys are going to fill in the blanks with suggestions we may have gotten already. Say some occupations. So if you want to put some occupations in the chat to start us off, that would be fantastic. We'll take one of those, and that will be our first round of competition for 185. An example of a good 185 might be if I asked you for your favorite animal and you said penguins. It could go 185 penguins walk into a bar. Bartender says, we're closed, we can't serve you penguins now. And 185 penguins reply, what'll we do now? Saying that's awful. But I had 2 weeks to write that one, and the players will be making these up on the spot. So if they were good, as judged by me and my vast reservoir of comedy knowledge, I will give a toot on the whistle, and the team that told that will receive 2 points. If I thought it was bad, as judged by me, I will go, and neither team will receive points. Dr. Voice, I know you've been challenged by keeping track of numbers above 5, but can you keep score for me?
I am here for you, Mark.
Thank you, Dr. Voice. And one more time, let's give Dr. Voice a round of applause as well. That's Jack Packard over there. So thank you very much, Jack, for running things behind the scene and counting all those numbers, counting. And our FM this evening has been Mr. Mike Kauth, our field manager. FM, thank you very much. And what occupation have we gotten to start off this game?
Oh, it's my pleasure. We've got a lot of great suggestions. The first one I'm going to take is Undertaker.
Undertaker. All right. So we'll keep those occupations coming, but we're going to start the first round with 185 Undertakers. Players, are you ready?
Yes!
Yeah.
Again, Amy.
185 Undertakers walk into the bar. The bartender's like, oh man, you guys look terrible. And they said, yeah, we could use a drink. Make it a stiff one.
Alicia.
185 Undertakers walk into a bar. They're like, we can't serve you. And the Undertakers are like, why not? And they're like, because you keep coughing on everyone.
Sarah.
185 Undertakers walk into a bar with Mrs. Marcos, and she has this terrible skin condition. And the 185 Undertakers are like, we're here for a special drink that we've heard soothes skin conditions. And the bartender's like, no, I'm not going to serve you. And they're like, oh, please, we need something for Imelda's hide.
Oh,
Okay. Deborah.
185 Undertakers who are already having a very bad day walk up to this bar, and the bartender's locking up, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, dudes and ladies, I cannot serve you, I'm closing up. And the 185 Undertakers of various denominations said, of course.
All right, let's switch it up. FM, let's get a new occupation from you guys.
Oh, sure. I'll give them 2. Let's go with a chef and a TV evangelist.
Okay, so we have a TV televangelist and a chef. So it's a player's choice. And now you can start typing in the chat. Give me some people that you learned about in history. I know we had Shakespeare earlier. Let's get some more of those historical figures or somebody that you learned about in school. Let's start it off. Julie.
185 chefs walk to the bar, and the bartender says, I'm sorry, we're closed. And 185 chefs look to their right-hand person and say, they'll sue.
Nice. Amy.
185 is it TV evangelists?
Yes.
Walk into the bar and he says, "I'm sorry, but I don't serve TV evangelists." And they say, "Oh, hell no."
All right, Sarah.
185 male chefs walk into a bar and they're like, serve us. And the bartender's like, I'm not serving you. And besides, last time you caused trouble here, you menu.
All right, Mike.
185 TV evangelists walk into a bar and the bartender says, hello, welcome. And the TV evangelists say, oh, you mean we can be served here? And the bartender says, yes. The 185 TV evangelist says, we're saved.
Alicia.
185 chefs walk into a bar. Bartender says, I'm sorry, we cannot serve you. And they said, why not? Well, you're already fried.
Nice. Deborah?
Yeah, 185 TV evangelists who were also chefs from the 80s walk into a bar and the bartender says, I'm sorry, I can't serve you. We just closed up. And the 185 chefs who were also evangelists from the 80s batted their eyelashes and said, I'm sorry about the fight last week, but we just made up. We're bakers.
Mm-hmm.
Amy.
185 TV evangelists walk into the bar. The bartender said, hey, I'm sorry. We don't have any alcohol here. We only serve water. And they said, oh, that's all right. We know a guy.
All right, let's switch it up. Let's go with some of those people that you learned about in history now. FM, who do we have?
Oh, we've got some good ones. I'll give you two. I'll give you Sigmund Freud and old Johnny Appleseed.
All right, Johnny Appleseed and Freud. And now start typing into the chat. Let's see, when you open up your refrigerator, what is something that you see right away? Just start typing those in the chat. But we have Freud and Johnny Appleseed, player's choice. Let's start with Mike.
185 Sigmund Freuds walk into a bar and the bartender just left without saying anything. And the 185 Sigmund Freuds look at each other. It's like, what happened to the bartender? He go.
All right, Alicia.
185 Freuds walk into a bar and the bartender says, I'm sorry, we are closed. And they said, oh, come on, let us stay. It's our dream.
Amy.
185 Sigmund Freuds walk into the bar. The bartender says, sorry, I'm going to have to see your IDs. Id.
Julie.
185 Freuds walk to the bar and the bartender says, I'm sorry, we're closed. They bob, they weave, they get in the bar anyway. They gave him the slip.
Oh.
Johnny Appleseed.
Amy.
185 Johnny Appleseeds walk into the bar. The bartender says, hey, welcome, Johnny Appleseeds. What'll it be? And they said, cider.
Hey, Alicia.
185 Johnny Appleseeds walk into a bar and the bartender says, oh, we're closed. Turn around and walk out. That hurt us at our core.
All right, let's switch it up one more time and let's get some of those things that you saw in your fridge. FM, what do we have?
Oh, we've got cheese, milk, and eggs.
Cheese, milk, and eggs. We're stuck in that dairy aisle. All right, cheese, milk, or eggs. Player's choice. Players begin. Julie.
185 eggs walk to the bar. The bartender says, I'm sorry, we're closed. But the eggs keep pressuring him and he gets mad and he says, just scramble.
Alicia.
185 eggs walk into a bar. The bartender says, I'm sorry, we're closed. And the eggs are like, are you kidding me? And the bartender is like, seriously, it's no yolk.
Amy. Oh, no. Sorry, Mike.
I'm good. 185 flirtatious milks walk into the bar and the bartender says, I'm sorry, I'm not serving you. And they get all flirty and they say, really? Because you're just so dreamy. We can't look past your eyes.
Mike.
185 eggs walk into a bar and the bartender starts pouring them some drinks. And one of the eggs in the back, he can't see what's going on. He's like, hey, make sure he's pouring those drinks. And the egg at the front's like, I'm letting him.
I got it. Sarah.
185 milks wearing sandals walk into a bar, and the bartender's like, no, we're not serving you with sandals. You need to have full-on shoes on your feet. And the milks were like, oh, you're lactose intolerant, sorry.
Okay, that's time for the game of 185, and that's time for this evening's match. So give both teams one more round of applause. Show your appreciation in the chat. We have low self-esteem, but please let us know what you thought of the players and the match this evening. And one more time, to heighten the suspense, let's get a drum roll going. We don't have to vote. I don't know why I said one more time. So we're not voting this one. We're coming to Dr. Voice, who is busy doing math, and I want to make sure he's got enough time to do all that adding, because there were a lot of good jokes in the round of 185. So one more time, a round of applause for your red team, the Sparklers, and your blue team, the Dendrites. And now, Dr. Voice, what's that final score?
Ooh, thank you, Mark. I needed all that time to do all this math, as each successful pun was worth 2 points. And after calculating, your winner of tonight's match is your Sparklers! Oh! What a round for everyone! Everyone, make sure you congratulate your Sparklers. In fact, we can congratulate everyone while we say goodbye. First, let's say goodbye to our losing Dendrites, like Deborah Stencil, Mike Durenberg, and Amy Westrup. And now the Sparklers, they get a little more screen time here. Ooh, look at them move. And we'll say goodbye to them now, like Julie Ferris-Tillman, Sarah Calvert, and Alicia Altstetter. Next, we are going to say thank you to our referee for tonight's match, Mark the Biscuit Redlick. Thank you all for coming. What a wonderful night. Goodbye.